All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Tonight, we're joined by Alex Caskey. I'll let him kind of give some background and introduce himself, but just want to thank him for taking the time out of a busy fall schedule to hop on here and talk to us about something that I'm personally interested in. I think a lot of us in the sheep industry are interested in, specifically in the eastern United States. And so this is being recorded. If you could go ahead and mute yourself, and if we could save questions to the end, we're gonna have quite a bit of time there uh, to ask those questions, write them down, and I know Alex is looking forward to answering all those, just guaranteed answers at the end of this. But
Yeah.
um, with that, Alex, take it away, share your screen, and looking forward to what you have to say.
All right. Let's see if I can, if the rehearsal worked here. We all good there?
Looks great.
Sweet. Well, thanks, Cam, and thanks everyone for tuning in here on a Wednesday night. I love talking about sheep and trees, but I love it most when I get to talk to sheep producers about it. So I'm really honored to be here talking with y'all. My name's Alex Caskey, and I'm the owner operator of Barred Owl Brook Farm and Tree Nursery. And tonight I'm going to explore what silvopasture looks like on our farm and sort of how I've come to approach it. So first, I'm just going to give a little personal background so you know where I'm coming from. This is me in high school with my buddy Darren. I was definitely a farm kid at heart growing up in northern Indiana. But my parents were definitely town folk, both teachers living in town. So they were supportive of my interests, and they let me get chickens started in our basement. And then we moved them out to my buddy Darren's place, who lived out in the country. And you can't tell, but those ribbons are purple. So we did all right, you know. Um, so yeah, and then I go to college and I decided to study conservation biology. So spent a few seasons doing field work. Was fortunate enough to go to Yellowstone, do some surveying there with the National Park Service. Also worked with pronghorn antelope in Montana, and ironically enough, I didn't know I'd come full circle, but we took a lot of the same measurements, including a ear punch for genetic sequencing on these guys. Same thing we're doing with our lambs. So this is what I'm my background's in. This is sort of how I'm coming to all this. And then I had a great opportunity in my mid to late 20s to go to Malawi, Africa, to work as a project manager for this food processing project. And while I was there, learned a lot of skills, met a lot of great people. This was a peanut processing facility that we helped oversee the construction of so that they could manufacture a fortified peanut paste to treat malnourished kids. And this is the crew that built that whole compound. I want to make it clear that they wanted these work suits. We did not force them to wear these. In their communities, this is a source of pride or a sign of gainful employment. But these are the folks that did all the hard work. But while we were there, there was some really devastating and catastrophic flooding. And these were floods that were sort of, you know, once in a lifetime, if not more, certainly exacerbated by climate change and poor management of the infrastructure and whatnot by the Malawi government. But just near where we were stationed, you know, almost 250,000 people were displaced, lost everything. And this had a huge ripple effect throughout the country. And when you it's one thing, you know, I think we all know these things are happening around the world. Unfortunately, they're also starting to happen in our neck of the woods as well. But I was profoundly impacted by this experience. And when I returned to the States, I didn't really feel like I could just focus on conservation in and of itself anymore. I felt like I needed to sort of explore a human component as well. And so that ultimately led me to my grad program at Tufts University. I actually met my now wife, Audrey, in Malawi. And when we got back to the States, she got into the physician's assistant program at Boston University. And so I found myself in Boston, kind of wanting to go to grad school, but not really in the location I imagined. I always thought I'd go to, you know, a land grant or something like that. But anyway, stumbled across this incredible program called Agriculture, Food, and Environment that fused the disciplines of nutrition, sustainability, ag science, environmental studies, and public policy. And I found it to just be exactly what I was looking for, a very interdisciplinary approach and curriculum-based approach to a master's program. And while I was doing my work there, I focused on GIS and spatial analysis of food systems. Specifically, I did a project looking at wildlife-friendly farming and farmers' interactions with wildlife in the New York Champlain Valley. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because that's now where we live and farm. And this was my initial introduction into the area. So enough about me. Don't want to talk too much about what I've been up to, but I just wanted to put this out there so y'all kind of know what I'm bringing to the table and how I'm coming to all this. So let's just dive right in and start with defining agroforestry, because silvopasture falls under the sort of bigger umbrella of agroforestry. And this is a term that was actually coined in the 1970s. It describes a wide range of production practices with the key feature of integrating trees and shrubs with crop and livestock farming. It's really a new term for a old practice. I mean, a lot of the base knowledge for what we're working with here came from indigenous land use and previous ways of farming. You know, it wasn't that long ago, especially in the tropic regions. I mean, it's still the case in tropical areas that trees were absolutely part of all farms, and not just on the edges, but an integral part of production. So there's 5 recognized practices that our USDA recognizes. There are definitely more iterations and variations across the world, but for funding purposes and whenever we're talking about agroforestry in the US, I think these are sort of the 5 that come up. So silvopasture would be the intentional integration of trees, forages, and livestock managed as a single system. Alley cropping would be the cultivation of crops, typically hay, pasture, grain, or veggies in the alleys between rows of trees. Forest farming would be the cultivation of non-timber crops under the canopy of existing forests. So things like maple syrup, woodland mushroom cultivation, ginseng. You have windbreaks, which is growing multi-storied hedges of trees to mitigate the effects of wind, and in our neck of the woods, also snow. And then you have riparian forest buffers, which are strips of permanent vegetation alongside waterways and wetlands that provide a whole host of beneficial attributes for both livestock or for both wildlife and the humans managing it. And then I just want to define a few terms because I tend to throw these around a lot, and so they might be unfamiliar to some folks. So when I'm talking about tree crops, I'm literally just talking about crops provided by trees. Now, usually we think about things like fruit, nuts, and timber, but I'm also thinking about fuel, livestock fodder, bee forage, etc. I think all those fall under the umbrella of tree crops. Mast is a term to used to refer to the food produced by trees and shrubs in the form of fruit, which would be soft mast, or nuts and seeds, which would be hard mast. Forage just refers to any bulky food consumed by livestock. This typically refers to cultivated mix of pasture plants, but I would also put tree fodder under this category. And tree fodder more specifically is leaf material from trees and shrubs that offers nutritional and medicinal benefits for livestock. Now, to dig a little bit more into the silvopasture component of all this, silvopasture is really interdisciplinary by nature. And given my academic background and sort of life experience, I feel right at home in this space, sort of fusing together a lot of different concepts and ways of thinking. So we're really combining rotational grazing, animal husbandry, and forestry or tree management. And I like to see, I approach it as sort of being more of a conductor and not so much a controller. It's really about trying to, the interplay of these 3 components and how you bring them together and how you manage them is more of a nuanced sort of conductor approach. It's not so heavy-handed. These are multi-strata systems, meaning that they're vertically oriented, and the overall goal is to mimic a savanna ecosystem. When we think of savanna ecosystems, we have a pasture or forage base, grassland on the ground level, and then trees sprinkled throughout at varying densities, but never so dense that the grass can't grow. So um, that's something to consider. As I mentioned, it's widely practiced globally, particularly in the tropics, and it's only more recently that it's gained traction in North America and more temperate regions. In terms of the actual tree species we're talking about, they're varied. You could have a lot of different. You can go a lot of different ways with the tree components of these systems. So, an area that I don't think's talked about quite as much that I'm extremely interested in is fodder, using these trees for fodder to feed livestock. Your main players there would be honey locust, mulberry, willow, poplar, and black locust. In terms of hard mast or nuts, you're looking at oak, chestnut, hazelnut, walnut, hickory, and pecan. This could be for human consumption or to feed animals. Same with soft mast in terms of fruit, apple, persimmon, pawpaw, pear, plum, cherry, and peach. And then there's also timber. There's good old timber that we can get out of these systems. White pine, black walnut, white oak, tulip poplar, and a popular one for some folks is to grow black locust as fence posts because they don't need to be milled. You can just use them as polewood. To dig into the fodder trees a little more, especially for this group who's looking to feed, or some of us are looking to feed livestock, mulberries would be more energy. There's definitely some protein there in the leaves, but could be a bulk feed. Poplar, similar. Willow, also leaf fodder. The value there is in the condensed tannins and salicylic acid. It's more of a medicinal component because of those contents. They can only eat so much. Willow intake will always be somewhat regulated by these characteristics, but there's a huge medicinal benefit in terms of anti-inflammatory and deworming effects. Black locust, sometimes compared to alfalfa in terms of its protein content. It is a legume. And then honey locust is different in that it's not so much the leaves you're after, but the pods. Sheep are unique in that they can consume the entire pod and digest both the seed and the pulp and shell. So they get energy and protein out of this. Also, because they're digesting the seed, they're less likely to poop it out and start spreading honey locust on your farm where you don't want it. Something that can happen with cattle. And while you do have to sort of train animals to eat honey locust, there's a lot of evidence that once they're familiar with it, they'll readily consume it. And there's a lot here on this table, and we can always circle back to things if people have questions or at the end if it comes up in discussion. But here's some nutrient analysis data that Steve Gabriel of Wellspring Forest Farm and the author of the book Silvopasture. This is from a SARE grant that he got not too long ago that was intended to look at the nutritional components of some of these potential fodders. And you'll see here, particularly in protein and TDN, these compare quite favorably to down at the bottom there, you'll see legume pasture and grass pasture, which is sort of the baseline. So I think this needs to be talked about, also explored more in depth. If you read this report, Steve will acknowledge that these are small sample sizes. There was a lot of variability just between the 2 years. There's also, the time of harvest would be another component. So this is all should be taken with a grain of salt, but I think it gives you a sense of, or at least an initial impression of what the potential could be for fodder. All right, but this is getting a little bit into the weeds. And so before I go too much further with sort of the nuts and bolts, I want to step back out to sort of the 30,000 foot view and think about systems and food production more broadly. So a lot of how I come to this has to do with thinking about systems efficiency in terms of food production and distribution. And during my studies and life experience, I feel like I often encountered that when it comes to modern agriculture, there's a lot of talk about maximizing efficiency, and for good reason, but it tends to be focused on maximizing yield of a specific commodity and minimizing labor expenses and land used. And that's pretty much how I hear or experience it being talked about. But I think what that misses is it misses a few things. One is these systems have also very efficiently exploited our natural resources and degraded those, depleted our soils, and they've often exploited the human and animal components of the system as well. So they're efficient in both good and bad ways. So what I propose is that we think of sort of a new efficiency standard, or and at least approaching it a little more robustly, and also thinking about resilience as part of the equation. So I also think we need to maximize yield, but thinking of it more rudimentary, like maximizing primary productivity and total solar capture. So you'll see here these by having these shrubs on the landscape, we're not really losing any footprint in terms of production, but we're gaining it vertically, and therefore we're maximizing uh, solar gain or solar capture in a way that's different than if it was just pasture. Minimizing labor, expenses, and land use are also should definitely be considered. But in terms of resiliency, I also think we need to reduce our reliance on external inputs and start thinking more, or at least developing ways to produce inputs on farm, or at least minimize the distance and reliance on them. And I think we have to consider how much fossilized carbon is used in these systems. I mean, we all use diesel and fossil fuels, and for good reason. But it should definitely be a consideration when we're talking about efficiency. Because if you're just mining fossilized carbon, I don't know how efficient you can really claim those systems to be then. So to go a little further into this, or at least just touch on some concepts that I think are really crucial to cement when it comes to talking about agroforestry and silvopasture, is this concept of overyield. So I don't know how many folks are familiar with the intensification versus extensification debate, sometimes referred to as land sparing versus land sharing. But I feel like in the sustainable ag world, this is sort of the equivalent to the sort of nature versus nurture conversation in developmental psychology, and that it's not like it's one or the other. There isn't one that's better, but there's always going to be some components of both, and where we're at, it's going to be defined by how we're approaching all this in terms of which we think is better. So to put this in, maybe a clearer view, intensification might be something like a CAFO, where you have really intense meat production in a really small area. Whereas extensification might be range grazing out west, where you have a really low stocking density, but your footprint in terms of land area is pretty large. Another one might be conventional organic versus conventional non-organic production. At the macro level, an organic conventional system is always going to require more land per unit produced than a conventional system. Again, there's plenty of individual examples that might buck that trend, but at a systems level, that's where we're at. And so my point isn't so much is one better than the other or anything like that. The point is that you always have to have trade off something. You're gonna maybe have improved environmental outcomes with one thing, but it's less efficient or you need more land. So why am I talking about all this? Well, when it comes to silvopasture, we're adding trees into a system, or utilizing trees. And so it's actually a form of vertical intensification. So similar to that photo I showed you earlier, it's allowing us to increase our productivity vertically and therefore intensifying the system, but we're not increasing our land or our footprint in the same way. And that's really important when it comes to, the sustainability of these systems and the impact they're having at a large scale. And the concept of overyield specifically refers to that when you have trees in a system and the understory, you might see a reduced production in both components to some degree. They're competing with each other for light and water and limited resources. But when you add the yields from the two, you'll see that the total sum of the parts is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, we should say. So that's one concept I want to touch on. The other is this idea of climate mitigation and adaptation. So climate mitigation would be things like mitigating the contributors to climate change. So trees acting as a carbon sink is taking carbon out of the atmosphere. That's a form of mitigation. Perennial systems tend to rely less on tillage, and tillage results in a lot of nitrous oxide being released in the atmosphere. So by having these more perennial systems, we're reducing tillage or even not tilling at all. And then there's some exciting research out there showing that when ruminants consume willow, they might actually have reduced methane emissions. There's some papers coming out. This is certainly, these things are all sort of emerging as we talk, but there's some exciting stuff going on there. On the but so what's unique about silvopasture and agroforestry is that, so many things in farming, they'll do one or the other here. They might mitigate, cover cropping and all that. Might help sequester some carbon. And that is a cover cropping is actually a form of adaptation too. But my point was that a lot of things we do might do one or the other, but few things do both, mitigate and adapt simultaneously. But silvopasture absolutely does. And so that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about it. So it's providing food and shelter and shade for our animals in extreme drought, heat, all that. That's a form of adaptation. There's some evidence that you can even improve the microclimate on your farm when you have trees, or even just under the trees themselves. Sometimes you'll see, with cool season grasses in midsummer, they'll be brown everywhere, but under trees, they'll be a little bit greener still. That's because they have a better microclimate, in mid-July when they're in the shade of a tree. And then from a revenue standpoint or economic standpoint, it's a way to adapt to climate change by diversifying our revenue streams, both spatially and temporally. And when we do that, it just makes us more resilient and more robust to, bad days or bad months or bad years. So to go a little bit more into the climate mitigation potential of these systems, there is a lot of variability there. Here, it's difficult to measure this, and a lot of this is based on modeling and projections, at least for the time being. So I don't want to get too bogged down in the specifics, but generally managed grazing or improved pasture management, so rotational grazing, all that, is said to sequester 0.3 to 0.5 tons per hectare per year of carbon. By comparison, silvopasture systems are thought to, or have been shown to sequester more like 3 to 7.2 tons per hectare per year, meaning that they can sequester 6 to 33 times the amount of carbon as a managed grazing system. Now, that's obviously not to disparage managed grazing systems. The fact that we're sequestering any carbon in a productive system is impressive. But I think this just helps sort of put into perspective the huge potential here compared to some of the other climate smart approaches that are talked about, very frequently, cover cropping and whatnot. It's not to disparage those, it's just to show that silvopasture really does stand out among those. And if anyone's familiar with Project Drawdown and the work of Eric Toensmeier, or if you're not, you can go check it out. They evaluated the carbon sequestration potential across all sectors of the economy. And they found that silvopasture ranked #1 among agricultural practices in terms of its potential to draw down carbon. And it actually ranked #9 out of the top 100 solutions across all sectors. So that includes energy production, transportation, everything. From an ecological and environmental standpoint, there's a lot of potential benefit when we increase the structural diversity on our farms. That can improve habitat for a wider range of species, including migratory birds. Habitat connectivity, it's gotten to the point where a lot of our farm land in this country is void of any vegetation or any way for wildlife to sort of get to the next step. And so if you're lucky enough to be in an area with other corridors, you could connect to a corridor or contribute to a wildlife corridor. Or if you are more of an island, maybe your farm could serve as a stepping stone, sort of a resting spot, as animals are trying to move through. And then there's a lot of potential for improved air and water quality because trees can act as sponges and filters to pull out pollutants before, they get to our waterways or up in the air that we breathe. There's a potential for improving animal welfare. Just access to shelter and shade when they need it can be really vital to keeping them happy and healthy. I found that when animals are or for our sheep in our silvopasture systems, they're able to exhibit their sort of natural behavior and curiosity. I think this helps reduce stress and just keep them generally happier animals. When you introduce, new components to their diet, they essentially have a diverse forage buffet. And, the work of Fred Provenza, if anyone's familiar with him, he's sort of shown pretty definitively that while we sort of want to homogenize animals when it comes to feeding, they actually all have unique needs. And even within the same flock, some animals are going to need a little bit more of this nutrient or mineral than the other. And so when they have options, they can sort of self-serve, so to speak. So anyone interested in that topic, I definitely recommend checking out the work of Fred Provenza and the nutritional wisdom of grazing and ruminants. But then we also definitely want to think about the farmers in these systems, and there's a lot of potential benefits for farmers. We can increase the use of farmland for production, particularly marginal land on our farms, degraded areas or areas that we're not getting much out of at present. We can see improved animal performance because they have access to that shade and shelter and are getting what they need nutritionally. It can be a way to cost effectively control problematic vegetation. Our sheep absolutely love buckthorn, and that's a good thing because we have about 10 acres of it. But they actually love it so much. I'm at the point now where I'm not trying to eradicate it. I'm just trying to control it and sort of manage it and exploit it for our purposes. Um, and this photo here is actually, this is in our buckthorn thicket. And you can see we've established some great forage there. And these things are just, they're protein. I call them the protein paddocks because between the buckthorn and all the clover that's popped up, they're they're packing a punch. The farmer can benefit from just increased resilience during extreme weather events. These events are really stressful, as I'm sure y'all can relate. But when our systems are built to handle them a little better, we can be, a little more at ease when those bad weather events hit. And then we're able to potentially increase our yields from the same acreage, again, using that over yield concept, and diversify our revenue streams. So now that we've sort of gone over that stuff, I want to narrow in a bit more on sort of the nuts and bolts and maybe get into the nitty gritty a bit more. So if you're thinking about silvopasture, maybe you've already thought about it and some of these things are familiar to you. It's important that as you approach this, you really have to account for all three components of the system: the forage resource, the livestock, and the trees. You don't have to maximize all three of them, but you definitely need to account for the well-being of each component. And a key distinction is that this is not woodlot grazing. Um, you know, it's not, if you don't have pasture, then you don't have silvopasture. So if you just have your animals in the woods, there might be good reason to do that. They might munch on browse. You might need to get them out while you rest some other paddocks in the summer. I'm not, making a judgment on woodlot grazing. I just don't think folks should be calling that silvopasture because it's a little misleading. And I think this is the worst with hogs. The number of times I've seen people say they're raising silvopastured hogs, but the forest floor is just mud and rutted up and there ain't a dang thing growing. That's not silvopasture. That's just ruining your woods with mud, or sorry, ruining your woods with pigs, in my opinion. Um, Rotational grazing is a key component of this. I would go so far as to argue you can't really do silvopasture well without rotational grazing, unless maybe you had a really low stocking density. Or it was just temporary set stock. And then establishment typically requires either thinning existing forest or planting trees into open areas. So to go into that a bit more, let's think about silvopasture by subtraction. So this would be sort of a large scale forest management project, generally in the name of timber stand improvement, where we're going to pull out the scrubby, sort of less desirable stuff and try to leave the nicer trees. I think it's important to consider that this is generally a carbon positive event. Again, no judgments, but that's going to differ from when we're adding trees into a system. So all that carbon mitigation, sequestration potential info I gave you earlier, that's really referring to planting, not subtracting trees. My recommendations, if you're going to go this route, is that you target your degraded and underutilized woodlots first. Try your best to find a well-informed and open-minded foresters and loggers. I think the supply of those can really vary regionally, in my experience, and it can be difficult in some places to find folks. In my experience, younger foresters tend to be a little more well versed in this, not trying to be an ageist. And there are definitely some old school foresters who are awesome. So don't accuse me of that. But this is sort of a newer way of thinking about looking at woodlots and managing forest stands. And when we're talking about thinning, I think it's important to remember that we're talking about a pretty major thinning event. Um, to get forages to grow and persist, we need to achieve something like 50 to 70% canopy cover. And that could mean removing up to 80% of the stems. That's going to create a massive amount of slash and whatnot to deal with. And so you really got to be managing or approaching this with, a clear plan in mind. That you might, because it's such a big undertaking, you might consider doing it in phases. Some folks have experienced wind throw or wind snap of the trees that they leave behind because these have grown, for decades surrounded by all these other trees. All of a sudden that's gone and they don't have the stem strength to handle strong winds. Nothing more devastating than doing a massive thinning project, keeping all your nice, future timber trees, and then a wind event comes and blows half of them down. There's also the potential for epicormic branching, which could reduce the timber value. And you really got to think about the markets in your region at the time of your project because you're going to be producing a lot of non-timber byproduct and you got to do something with that. So finding an outlet for pulp or chips um, could be crucial to making these projects economically viable. And then you also really ought to know that you're going to have a relatively short, as in maybe a season or two window to establish forest and pasture once you've done this big disturbance event. And you best be ready because um, I've seen firsthand examples of when folks didn't have a plan for establishing the forage and didn't have a plan for managing the regrowth. And you go in 5 to 10 years later, and it's just a mat of multiflora rose or 10-foot tall, you know, uh, red maple or poplar that are all the size of your thumb. And now you got a big mess on your hands. And because forest soils tend to be more acidic, you may need to amend them, may need to line them to bring them up in pH so that you can get forages established. And you're going to have limited, depending on your project and where it's at, you might have limited equipment access to establish forages. So that's another challenge. That's an area where I think trample seeding and using the livestock to incorporate bale grazing is another one to sort of incorporate the seed could be really valuable. So silvopasture by addition would be the other way to get silvopasture established. And this is going to be more of a planting project, really more of a tree establishment project, has the potential to be carbon negative and I guess I should say these are almost all going to be carbon negative. And some of the subtraction projects could also be carbon negative. But for example, the one I toured some silvopasture in near Ithaca, New York, and I think it was like a 50 or 60 acre project. And they removed, I think it was between 80 and 90 semi truck loads worth of material. Um, so, that's a carbon positive event. Again, not making a judgment, but that's the sort of scale we're talking about when we're talking about thinning. All right, back to adding. Um, I sometimes I think people are like, oh yeah, just plant trees, like that'll be easy. But I want to stress that establishing trees economically on the farm and at scale is not a joke, especially on a working farm where you have equipment, livestock, other goals. It can be a hard environment for trees to get started. If you are trying to lay it out and plant it, I recommend starting on edges and starting, maybe a little smaller. We typically plant about 50 to 100 stems a year, and we just try to do that every year and build our supply. Um, some people want to just go for it all at once. That's obviously up to you. Um, Tree protection, irrigation, pest and weed control, pruning, those are all things you're going to need to think about as your trees get established. And to be completely honest, I have to admit that in my experience, farmers aren't always actually the best tree planters and tenders. We're busy. It's easy for these tasks to sort of fall by the wayside. Um, I think a lot of us, we're not used to thinking long term when it comes to managing our vegetation, although any grazers and pasture based systems, might be thinking a little more that way. But, annual row crops, veggies, all that, it's a different animal when you're dealing with a tree and you got to come back year after year to do a task and make sure it's doing all right. Now, each individual tree might not require a ton of effort, but at scale, it's going to add up. So I just really encourage folks to be realistic about the resources they have available in terms of labor, especially during the establishment phase of these trees. And generally, the establishment phase of a tree is about 3 years. If you can get it through for the first 3 years, in general, it'll start to sort of take care of itself. Obviously, there's exceptions here, but in terms of sourcing, that can be challenging. There's a general shortage of high quality nursery stock. You might need to order in advance. There's sort of a dearth of proven cultivars and varieties. It can be difficult to find specific plants, especially at volume. You might consider starting an on-farm nursery. It doesn't have to be fancy, but you don't need much to just get some trees going. And you might even consider hiring a contractor and outsourcing the planting and establishment phase. A little bit more about species selection if you are planning to plant for silvopasture. I won't go through everything, but I want to touch on the fodder trees I mentioned earlier tend to be a little more widely adapted. So you're going to have more versatility there, whereas the fruit and nut trees, less so. However, fruit and nut trees tend to have a higher long-term return on investment potential, whereas fodder, maybe not so much. I'm happy to revisit this slide if folks want to chat more, but in the interest of time, keep moving here. And if you're as you approach this endeavor just in the planning phase, I certainly encourage you to think about risk, both financial risk, sort of temporal risk across time, and the risk that you're personally facing with regard to climate change. Another consideration is what are the primary products you're hoping to get out of the system? Is it the tree crop or is it the livestock? It might be some of both, but this has implications for stocking density. If we want to use the animals to just manage the trees and the undergrowth, we don't really need a ton of animals to do that. So you might not have very high stocking density. Others of us are trying to maximize our land production, and so we're really trying to optimize the system for livestock, and the tree crops are a bonus. Definitely want to consider our markets, but this can be tricky. The markets for some of these products are emerging or even non-existent right now. I think there's a lot of promise for them, but I think we got to be realistic when we're planting this stuff about the current state of things. All right, so that's sort of all the good stuff and how we might get into agroforestry and silvopasture, but what are the challenges and why don't we see this, more widely adopted? Well, these are really regional and site-specific systems, and they change across space and time. They're complex, and there's a general dearth of technical information when it comes to planning and implementing these. And there aren't that many technical service providers who are proficient in these systems. They might, know about them or have a little experience, but they're not really proficient. Again, there can be limited genetic resources, lack of improved plant and animal genetics that are optimized for these systems. There aren't a ton of current examples and practitioners, and we're fighting against, cultural norms and difficulty just sort of, as a species with long-term planning. I've already talked about markets a fair amount. There's not a great support structure. I think it's getting a little better, but a lot of the government programs we try to engage still have a whole lot of red tape and aren't always the most practical when it comes to what we're trying to do. And there's a large upfront cost to get these things off the ground, both in terms of capital and labor. So what are you going to do in the meantime? There can be a long wait until you see a return on investment. So all of this makes these somewhat a high risk endeavor. Although I would also argue that the status quo is somewhat risky. So it's up to you to decide just how risky all this is. All right. 7:40. All right. I'll try to wrap up here because I definitely want to leave time for questions, but I'm just going to sort of really quick go through how this applies to our farm and our operation. And then obviously can go more in depth if folks have questions. But these are, as I was, finished up my grad program, we found ourselves with a great opportunity to buy these 60 acres in the Champlain Valley. My wife Audrey got a good job up in Plattsburgh at the hospital, and we decided to go for it. But I didn't know exactly how I was going to farm, and I had to think about how to approach this. And at that time, these were the questions really kicking around in my head. So I figured what better place to start. Some of them, my questions were rather straightforward. Just what tree crops will grow here, which of these is commercially viable, what does a silvopasture-based grazing system look like in our neck of the woods? Is it possible to produce carbon neutral or even negative meat? To what extent can wildlife habitat and biodiversity be prioritized on an economically viable farm? And can agroforestry systems provide a better work environment and more fulfillment for the humans involved, thus leading to better retention? And I mean that retention in terms of just your farm workforce, but also generationally. Is this something your kids or the next generation are going to want to take over? Um, I would hope so, or it might be more appealing than some of the other options, I should say. So in terms of our farm ourselves, it's just us, me and my wife Audrey and our son Alden here. He's about a year and a half old, and this is our trusty pointer Zomba. I'd like to say she's the only free meal on the farm. Everyone else works for their feed. Audrey is full-time physician's assistant, but she does help, here and there, especially in the nursery in the spring. And she also really likes grooming the livestock guardian dogs, so she's a specialist in that. Um, this is sort of just an overhead shot of our farm. Um, about 60 acres, gently sloping to the north. Our soils are primarily fine sandy loam, got a little bit of clay, but generally a pretty high water table. Um, Rocky outcroppings, and really just an abundance of microclimates, which is really nice when you're trying to test and plant a bunch of different trees. In terms of the farm enterprises and sort of business goals, our focus is on developing and proliferating improved genetic inputs for temperate silvopasture and agroforestry systems. As I mentioned earlier, there's a dearth of high quality material out there, and that's certainly something we ran into when we wanted to get started. We didn't feel like we could find, I was often sort of trying to make the best with what we could find, but I didn't feel like I was able to find genetic inputs that were really optimized for the system. So that's what I set out to develop, hoping that other folks, will be able to use these and also that we can make some money doing it. On the sheep side of things, we have a registered Katahdin flock that's enrolled in the National Sheep Improvement Program. We utilize genomic testing to get back GEBVs. Breeding stock is really where we're focused, but we do sell finished market lambs that don't make the cut. And we're primarily interested in selecting for maternal traits, then parasite resistance, and then growth on 100% forage, which includes tree fodder. But as you all know, if you're going to evaluate sheep in a system, you also have to build the system. So that takes a little bit of time, especially when we're talking about trees. We're currently in year 5 of our permanent planting establishment. We planted our first trees in 2020. We're in this first sort of 10-year establishment phase that I'm calling round 1. At year 3, we started to get harvests off, our first hazelnuts, could take willow cuttings, elder cuttings. So we began evaluating and propagating out the winners. The next, 15 years or so, we'll be establishing round 2, where we're going to plan out the winners that we've seen early on and also any new varieties we come across. And these are all the species we're currently evaluating and working on here. The ones in bold are sort of the ones I have a soft spot for, although I should also have tulip poplar in bold because I got a soft spot for that too. State tree of Indiana, so always close to the heart. And then wrapping up here with just sort of our current projects and interests, where I want to take this personally and where I hope to contribute. So this slide up here is just a zoom in of our buckthorn thicket, and you can see where we've started cutting access and fence lines through. And then down in the right here is a photo of planting into that buckthorn. So it's part of sort of I like to call it my 30-year buckthorn management plan. We got one of the Nature Conservancy Expanding Agroforestry Program grants for establishing silvopastures. So we're still in the sign up phase there, but we're looking to establish high density willow fodder blocks. I'm really curious about going more into depth with willow fodder analysis. I'm curious what the variation is between species. There's something like 370 plus species of willow in the world. Just in our region, the Adirondacks, I think there's about 16 to 18. I'm really curious what the variation there is from a livestock feed standpoint. I'm also curious about the potential for baling and preserving willow for winter feed. I've got some real cool videos linked on our website where you can see this done in a mechanized fashion with a round baler. Um, and then I'm also curious about the potential to develop pelletized feed products from these tree crops that could be fed supplementally to sheep and other livestock. So that's it for all of that. I just want to throw out some resources I have. These are all on our website. This is a selection guide sort of based on farm application. This is the other part of that guide, which is just some of the sort of basic agronomic requirements of these trees, place to get you started. These aren't meant to be exhaustive guides. It's just stuff I put out there for folks to sort of start kicking around. This is also on our website. This is all the willow species we're currently growing and evaluating, along with my notes and whatnot. So check that out on our website. And then this is my recommended reading list for folks that want to dig in more. And with that, I'll wrap it up. If you want to support us, you can buy our plants, buy trade breeding stock with us. You can sign up for updates on our nursery website. I hopefully send out one update a year, so I'm not prolific, so I won't be spamming your inbox. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm always happy to talk about this stuff formally or informally with folks. So thanks so much for having me, Cam, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Lot of information, and so if anybody has questions, feel free to pull yourself off of mute. If you feel like you can word it better in the chat, put it in there. I'd be happy to ask that. But I've got a question to get us started here. You talked about the cost of um, those new plantings being significant, and I guess if someone's wanting to approach that, they have pasture, they want to add trees to it. What should they look at budgeting on a per tree basis? Is there a Are there additional tools like the tree tubes, for example, that add to the cost? Because it's and like, is there significant water usage? I know this year in Ohio, if you would have planted trees, they probably would have all died without without going out and hand watering those. So just kind of getting started there. What's the capital investment look like up front?
Yeah. So there's gonna obviously be a range depending on what you're looking to establish. But so like in our neck of the woods, NRCS reimbursement rates were somewhere around like $6 to $8 per tree established. Anyone I've talked to thinks that that's a total joke. That's just nowhere near enough. The Nature Conservancy grant, one of the reasons we applied for it is because the reimbursement rate was $35 a stem. I think now they've raised it to it's 35 for a shrub and it might be as high as 50 or 55 for a tree. Um, I think that's more in line with the true cost of establishing these. That might be a little on the high end, but after always seeing these government reimbursements rates lowball everything, it was refreshing to see something airing maybe on the higher end of things. But I think that's realistic. I mean, um, stock, the stock that you're planting, could range from a few dollars a stem to if you're planting like a grafted cultivar of something, that could be 35, $40 just for the tree. Tree protection, definitely something to consider. I'm a big fan of the Plantra tree tubes, but those run you $10 to $12 a pop. I still think it's actually worth it, even at that cost. But that's something to consider. And then yeah, 3 years of establishment labor, pruning. Each visit to the tree might only be a minute or less, but that adds up over time. And then yeah, in a bad year, it's going to be more than a minute because you got to water it every 2 weeks. And if you didn't put in drip irrigation, you're going to be doing that by hand. And what's the cost of that? So you can see how pretty quickly $35 to $50, you know, doesn't seem so crazy. And yeah, I guess that's where, I think a cheaper way to do it is to use willow stakes and where you just plant with cuttings. Because those are cheaper and a little tougher. But yeah, hopefully that answered it, Cam. Let me know.
Yeah, that's great. We've got a couple here in the chat. So Nick wanted to ask, do you have any tips for keeping the plantra tubes? I don't know if that's a name brand, from cutting into the stems and causing a thorny browsing
Yeah.
response in honey locusts.
Yeah, this drives me nuts because I love the planter tubes and they're expensive, but then they have this flaw, and I'm just like, can y'all not? But so he's talking about at the top of a tube, they are plastic, but they're rigid. I mean, somewhat rigid, but enough that the stem will blow around and actually it'll abrade the stem at that point. Um, Now most things will heal all right without much issue, but as Nick's talking about, honey locust can have this thorny response, which is really annoying, where you actually plant a thornless honey locust and then it experiences a stress event and starts deciding to sprout thorns, and that's always no good. So I think that's what he's referring to there. But yeah, the what I do is I feather the end with snips. So before I put the tube on, I pinch it flat and I literally just cut it and feather it so that it's like little fingers almost. And then that makes it so it doesn't rub so bad. But every time I'm doing it, I'm like, how much do they charge me for these? And here I am with snips, freaking
Right.
snippet plastic. Like, are you kidding me?
Cutting them
Um,
up. Yeah.
yeah. And one thing, so the Plantra is a brand name, and I do think it's kind of like the John Deere of the planting world. Oh, now I brought in best tractor brand, which might not be good. I have a New Holland, so don't worry, I'm not that preferred. But what I mean by that is that it's sort of proprietary. It's a high quality, but also highly expensive, like high cost
Mm.
product. So that was my analogy there. And but the main thing is that they're properly vented. So if you buy a different brand, buy whatever you want, but especially if you're in northern or really hot climates, that venting is crucial because if you don't have proper venting on the tube, the trees don't know when to harden off in the fall and they wake up too soon in the spring and then they get hammered by a later early frost. So some people literally cut slits into their tree tubes to make sure they're vented well enough.
Mm. And it's less an issue of being too well vented and more an issue of not being vented enough. There's not a situation where the venting is going to actually cause a negative effect.
I wouldn't think so. Yeah, no. I mean, you are actually getting some greenhouse effect in a good way when you grow in those tubes. So you're actually gonna, I think Tom Wall is a chestnut farmer in Iowa, and he claims that when he tubed a chestnut, he would get his first crop by year 5, and when he caged them with wire, his first crop was year 10. Now, I think
Wow.
that might be like a bit of an exaggeration, but
Right.
give you an
Right.
idea, like there is actually, and it's two things. One is when it's in the tube, it's growing, um, like it's just growing faster because it's warmer, it's preferable microclimate. But the tube is also forcing all the energy up, and you're getting very little lateral branching. And so the energy that tree does have is going vertical instead of horizontal. And then there's also the labor component. You're not having to do all that pruning. But anytime you're pruning a tree, if you're going to be a cynic, that's lost productivity. If you're pruning it off, it would have been better to just, you know, not have that growth to begin with.
Perfect. Next question. Do you ever have any issues with deer in your silvopastures and causing issues with meningeal worm in your lambs?
Yeah, we do. And Cam and I were just talking when I signed on because we got a couple rams from him this year, and one of them just got hit with the meningeal worm, so that's a bummer. It's recovering all right, but yeah. For those of you who don't know, meningeal worms, also called deer worm. But yeah, this question comes up sometimes if silvopasture is more conducive to meningeal worm because of it's sort of a preferable deer habitat. In my personal experience, all my farmer friends in this area who raise sheep have just as much problem with meningeal worm as I do. I don't think silvopasture is the driving thing there, I guess is what I'll say. But yeah, we do deal with it. It's not fun. I don't know that there's a whole lot you can do about it. Nothing like going on and reading the recommendations and they're like avoid grazing areas with deer pressure and near forest edges. And we're just like, that's our whole farm. So
Right.
I guess we can't do anything. Um, I don't know. I'd be curious if anyone else, I mean, I don't know about innate sort of resistance to meningeal worm. I sort of understand it to be more just bad luck, but certainly curious if, we can breed better sheep in the future to be resistant to it, just like GI, but or gastrointestinal worms. But in the meantime, it's just a really nasty thing to deal with.
Do you think your prevalence of it is increased because you guys are trying to do the silvopasture thing, or just the region you live in and the farm that you purchased, regardless, is it something that you'd run into an issue with, you think?
Yeah, I think it's just regional. And if you look at our whole farm, even the open, like we have one area that's 10 acres open field, but then, you know, it's maybe a quarter mile across. You basically never have that far to go to get to the woods. So even if I'm not planting trees, there's deer everywhere.
They're there. Yeah.
I would say things like a healthy coyote population, and not an overabundant one, but a healthy one, and like natural predators, good hunting management, like those are all going to have a bigger effect on your meningeal worm presence than silvopasture, in my opinion.
Yeah. Next question. How do you keep sheep from pushing down young trees to eat the tops?
Yeah.
And then she goes on and mentions that her trees have to be in a jail in a fenced over with T-posts, and then there's a question after that. We'll ask after this one.
Yeah. So, I mean, the short answer is tree protection. But electricity, in the form of electronet, um, is what I use. Basically, you do have to exclude until the trees can handle the presence. The other thing would be to, move the sheep through fast enough that they're not getting curious and starting to tip young trees down to nibble them. Usually, if they're doing that, if you get to the point where sheep are, you know, acting like goats or climbing on each other's backs to bring stuff down, that's probably because they don't have other food they, feel good about. Um, but yeah, I mean, so it's, browse height's definitely a consideration, having stuff above browse height before you let sheep in. But I have been surprised by things that are 10, 12 feet tall and they'll team up and bend them down. So, um, yeah, I don't know if that's a very satisfying answer, but you might just have to wait longer until the sheep can be in there.
Yeah, and when you're talking excluding some of those areas, are you rotating those pastures, almost utilizing that tree line as your fence line? So
Oh yeah.
running temporary fence parallel with that tree allotment, so those sheep are actually excluded from that area and almost strip grazing, or yeah, utilizing
Right.
those alleyways, kind of the alley cropping that you showed some pictures of early. Is that a way to exclude but still utilize forage around those trees?
Yeah, definitely. Another reason I like the planter tubes is because I just put my electronet right up on it because it's insulating the tree then. And so you can literally just use, that's okay to contact. And then you can have your electronet right up to those tubes. This is also assuming you're planting in rows, which is definitely the easiest way to plant if you're going to be grazing during establishment. From a like sort of land use perspective, there's plenty of good reasons to plant in clusters or groves. Um, maybe you don't want rows, you want clumps of trees. Then you would just need to put up temporary fence during that sort of establishment phase. So yeah.
Awesome. And then, are there any issues with thorns from the locust and buckthorn causing foot injuries to livestock, or livestock guardian dogs?
Yeah, I would definitely be concerned with with once the stuff's on the ground, I should say. So when I find they're pretty smart, like pretty good at avoiding stuff that's up, growing. But once you cut it or drop it, then I feel like that's where it becomes more of an issue. It's been something I've always been curious about. I have not ever noticed any hoof or LGD paw issues. I have some suspicions that there might be some eye injuries. Like sometimes I'll see um like a ewe with like a bad eye, and I wonder if she got something in there. Um just anecdotally, if you're working in these systems, like it can feel funny to wear protective goggles, but like I cut a lot of buckthorn when my sheep are in the paddock. So like I chop and drop it. And I was doing that once without wearing glasses and so, some ewes, so then you end up getting like a bunch of brush all stacked up. Some ewes stepped on it, went through it and flicked one up and it hit me like right on the forehead. I was an inch away from my eye. And that was a reminder, like, okay, like if you're cutting this with other moving animals around you, like maybe wear some glasses. So I don't know, that was a tangent. But yeah, thorns, I think my experience is like they're just smarter than or tougher than we are and know how to like they seem sort of uh tougher. I think you might see one-off incidents, but I don't know that it's any, worse than other things on the farm.
Yeah, next question. You had wild cherry and black locust listed as trees for fodder. How do you manage those with the toxicity issues for ruminants?
Yeah, so the wild cherry that Steve Gabriel looked at, I don't know, he might have just been curious, like that was one of those tree fodder species. I don't have a lot of personal experience with the cherry. He might have just been curious about the how it stacked up nutritionally. I have heard that wilted cherry is the issue. So like they actually have some tolerance eating it fresh, but if a branch breaks or anything happens and then they eat the wilted cherry, there can be that's when the toxicity issues emerge. Black locust I know can also be an issue, but I think that's like just similar to how alfalfa or clover can be toxic if it's eaten sort of, in excess and without balance. So I'm a firm believer going back to Fred Provenza and his work. I'm a firm believer that when you hear of toxicity issues in animals, well, first of all, anything can happen, so keep that in mind. But animals can get sick off of too much clover. Other things we consider fine. Um, Basically, what it really comes down to is do they have other options? Do they have diversity? And are they properly fed? Because if they're in a paddock that's void of fodder and they're really hungry and a tree branch snaps in a storm, they're all gonna go eat that on an empty stomach. And like and they're gonna eat too much. And that's when the toxicity could happen. If they have a nice buffet or even just pasture to graze, and this is an existing part of their system, they might nibble a little bit and sort of wait to decide if they should eat more. I mean, I really think that in the right setting, they'll have a negative feedback and then they'll back off. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about the nutritional wisdom of animals. But I think like a huge component of them being able to express that is to have a whole system where they're encountering this stuff frequently and know how to manage it. Another thing would be the generational component and the like, we see our lambs learn behaviors from the dams. So when you have dams that know what to eat and how much and when, their lambs are picking that up. I'm sure of it. Milkweed, this isn't a tree fodder, but milkweed is on every toxic grazing list I look at. Our sheep love milkweed. It's one of the first things they hit in a paddock, but they take two nibbles and move on and eat a whole bunch of other stuff. So I think that's always a component of it. But my short answer is every plant is toxic if you eat too much of it. And just know that in our literature, like in the land grant and government literature, there's a huge bias against trees and woody stems when it comes to toxicity, in my opinion. It's not completely unwarranted, but it's like I don't think it's always. I think they don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me put it that way.
Nice. Next question. Is there a benefit to keeping fodder trees within reach of livestock slash harvest by coppicing slash
Opposite and pollarding. Oh, this is
pollarding? Yeah,
yeah.
once well established.
I love that. I love that we got a question about coppicing and pollarding because I love those things and I was feeling short on time, so I didn't go there. But now I can because I was asked. Um, so just so everyone knows, coppicing is when you're cutting a mature woody stem at the base when it's dormant. Pollarding is doing the same, but up at breast height or higher. Um, so the key difference there for grazing animals is pollarding keeps the regrowth out of reach of the livestock, whereas coppicing is going to put it within reach of the livestock. I'll also add deer because sometimes you might coppice for your sheep, but the deer get there first, and that's always annoying. Um, yeah, so is there a benefit to keeping trees within reach? Yeah. So there's definitely a trade. The way I see it is if you coppice, then the animals when they're in there, they have access to the regrowth, including the sheep, deer. But you don't have to do anything for them to harvest. If you pollard, you now control when they have access to that feed, but you're also going to have to put in effort to drop that feed so they can reach it. So I think of pollarding management as more of like your bank or your like insurance policy for in a drought when you need to go start feeding your fodder. And I guess that's another part I miss is I really see the tree fodder, the real strength of it is when you're in a drought and in a really adverse event. When everything's going good, I mean, feed your pasture, right? They're going to do great on it. But when the tree fodder excels, in my opinion, is when you have stressful events. So that's when you want to tap into I call it a fodder bank because it's all above browse height. You've banked all that. But now it's going to require effort, usually in the form of a chainsaw or, a forestry tool to go out and make put it within reach. Um, but yeah, coppicing and pollarding definitely have a role, especially with the willow. Certain things, just really want to regrow. Um, mulberry.
Awesome. Getting into new terminology. I love it. Next question. Is there an ideal density you would plant at when starting with open pasture?
Oh yeah. I mean, ideal is gonna be tough because it's just so variable on in terms of what you want to do and what your goals are. But I would say that I would plant way further apart than I would have 5 years ago. So in our like I have up in the farmstead, we have a chestnut pawpaw orchard that's on 20-foot spacing. Sorry, the chestnuts are on 20-foot spacing. Pawpaws are interplanted. So basically there's a tree every 10 feet in one plane and then every 20 feet in the other. That 20-foot alleyway is like such a pain in the neck to graze. Um, just to electro net it, this long narrow strip. Sheep also don't love grazing in long narrow strips. They don't like feeling like they're in a chute. They want to feel. So if I were planting out in an open pasture, I would plant densely in the row, but I would space my rows like 200 plus feet apart probably. And then what you can do, so one strategy is if you plant a row and then you plant say 400 feet away, let those mature, let them get to the point where now you don't have to fence them out or you don't have to protect them. And now you can plant on the off row, so every 200 feet, um, and they can graze around that established row. So I don't know if I illustrated that very well, but that'd be a way to like you'll eventually then end up with 200-foot spaced rows, but you started at 400, then you infilled. Um, that can be a technique. But yeah, density, if you go back to that sheet that I put out there where I try to put some spacing recommendations on there, but admittedly they're very they vary widely because it's just like it's species dependent, it's what your goal is. Like if you're trying to maximize fodder and you just care about vegetation, then like pack them in. But if you want fruit and nuts, then you got to have enough sunlight penetration, like that's a very different um goal. So hopefully that helped, Jared, but let me know if you have more specifics.
Yeah, and on that spacing question, I mean, any reason for the 200 specific, or could you make it 160 so
Oh
your
yeah, no, that was just yeah.
one roll of electronet would fit perfectly in
No, I
between those
think
rows?
I think that's a great point. I made up 200 and 400, but I think
Okay.
make them something like that. Like, yeah, what are those rolls? They're like 164 feet. Like maybe that's the exact right width then. Equipment. Like one another thing I was thinking of when I said that far apart is haying. Like some people want to hay these systems, or maybe you want to hay during the establishment phase so you don't have to worry about excluding the sheep. Um, well, you got to make sure you can turn your equipment around. If you hire out the haying, like most hay guys do not like trees in the hay field. Like that's not something they like to deal with. So to have a nice 200, 400 foot wide space for them to operate in, they might be more willing to do it. if they're looking at a 20-foot wide, even maybe their cutter's 20-foot wide, but no one wants to be like, right down right at the edge. So yeah, I think the topic of density and planning and designing the systems is so like that is the devil's in the details. And again, that's going back to what makes these systems difficult to replicate or to give sort of like writ large recommendations. There is no one size fits all. There's no cookie cutter approach. But then conversely, there's like so much opportunity, to design it how you want to need it.
Awesome. Couple of comments in there in the chat on meningeal worm, and then uh, some livestock guard dog situations, uh, along with cherry and some black locust, just experience. Last question we have in there: have you considered or looked at bamboo as livestock fodder
Yeah, I
options?
saw that. I personally I haven't. Certainly I mean, that's a fascinating consideration. I'm a big fan of bamboo in terms of a renewable fiber, sort of and whatnot. Definitely, an unfortunate characteristic of a lot of bamboo is, to my knowledge, we don't really have any native bamboos, especially not up this far north. And a lot of them can be invasive or have that really aggressive uh, characteristic. Now, the same could be said about some of the trees I'd put out there. Like people have horror stories of black locust and honey locust. So, the component, the key point, I guess, is if these are managed systems that are being, annually grazed, then that's less of a concern. But no, bamboo. I mean, I would imagine like a lot of things eat bamboo, so I'd imagine um there's potential there. But personally, I don't have experience, so I won't act like I do.
Yeah. So you'd mentioned the
Yeah.
preserving of forage, and the next question is: are you ensiling your willow round bales to preserve for feeding in winter? Or how are you wrapping those? How are you harvesting those?
Yeah, so I'll admit that I don't actually have any experience doing it. This is more like aspirational, let me say. Um, but if can I do screen share again real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I just have
Should
some
st-
I can show. Um, is that working all right?
yeah. Yep,
Okay.
I can see it.
So this is actually in Dutch, so the subtitles, you'll just have to go off the subtitles. But they're basically so they're planting willow stakes, at a high density. I know the resolution isn't great, but here you'll see they're just using a reinforced cutter to take the side, to cut the side branches on a pretty small tractor. Um, and I'll just watch this for a little bit. But here you go. So now they're just using a straight up round baler. Um, they are wrapping, but I guess when you're cutting the tender shoots and it's green, um, I guess it can handle. I mean, when I watched this video, this like blew my mind, and it was like, oh, okay, let's go, because like mechanizing these systems is, I think, really important for scaling up, and so something like this, I think is potentially huge. Um, so the reason I'm showing this is because this is the extent of my knowledge on this topic, is watching this 2.5 minute Dutch video. No, so yeah, this is more something that I just like am really curious about and want to explore more and wonder what the potential could be. I think in this particular study, they like fed it out right away. I think it says in the subtitles here. So they didn't like age it or anything. Um, yeah, anyway, I don't know. Hopefully that was like interesting to people.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy. And
so
I guess
that's
when I see it, it reminds me of like Serratia lespedeza, and something of that type of woody stem with a uh, yeah, tannin containing forage that has value, and that hay's made and sold all the time in certain parts of the country. So yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean a big like I have more questions than answers. I want to make that very clear. That's also how I know I'm at exactly the right place. But these are all like I want to know how to bale in a way that willow in a way and preserve it in a way that maximizes feed value. But first, I just got to grow the willow. So that's the fodder blocks I was talking about earlier that are part of the Nature Conservancy grant we're on. Like that's all part of this goal is to, get them established so that I can hopefully find a grant to buy a reinforced cutter so I can go start doing that. Then I can try to convince my neighbor with a round baler who will probably look at me like I'm crazy trying to put
Right.
through his round baler. Um, and start testing it and see how it goes, how does it ensile, how does it age, how does it change nutritionally? I think the idea of being able to roll one of those out periodically throughout the winter, I think be great for them to sort of nibble on.
Awesome. Last one in here, it looks like. Oh, and there's another one. The will NRCS fund bamboo if it's invasive?
Yeah,
I'll
I
just
don't.
go ahead and say probably not. Just
Right.
knowing what that
I'll just
NRCS.
say, from what I know of NRCS, they're not particularly like quick to get on board to new ways of doing things. So bamboo, like, probably not an NRCS. And actually, while we're on that topic, this is totally unrelated, but or not unrelated, but some different topic is funding these things. Dealing with the federal programs to fund these projects, like there is a lot of money there, but it's gonna be a pain in the butt to get it. If you can find state funding pools or even like local soil and water, or sometimes nonprofits will actually fund this, there's often a lot less red tape for those grants. So just something to consider. My friends across town got there was an Autobahn grant, Autobahn Bird Society grant to establish trees and perennials on farms for bird habitat, and so they got like $1,500 to plant like 100 trees. And that was nice. It was literally like they just showed them their receipts and got the money. So that's very different than having to go through FSA and come up with like a whole farm management, you know, plan. So it's something to consider if you're looking for funding. That
Yeah, that's
a
great
lot more.
advice. Yeah, and then comment here. I think you would need to spray molasses on the willow branches to get proper pH drop for stable fermentation, but they haven't tried it, and that's something. You look at the ensiling process of that, and it very different than what your traditional forage
Right.
crop might
Yeah.
be. Um, and then some comment on that Audubon bird friendly beef aspects that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forget. I forget. I think that particular project was like a very local, like it was like a New York State Audubon project. Um, so I don't know about the program they're referring to there, but yeah.
Awesome. I don't see anything else, and nobody else has come off of mute to ask a question. Um, this
Sweet.
has been recorded, and we will get it up on the website for membership to view. If you're not, see a lot of new names on here, which is awesome. That's the goal of having topics like this that are cutting edge and somewhat novel at this point. Is to draw an audience and share that information. So if you're not a member of EAPK, I would urge you to become a member. A lot of great resources, really good network of sheep centric people. And with that, just want to thank everybody, especially Alex, for sharing your wealth of knowledge. And what's the website?
Oh yeah, it's barredowlbrookfarm.com. And
Okay.
yeah, we got ordering open right now for plants and all that. Um, I also want to say a huge thank you because like I've found NSIP and EAPK and all the Katahdin folks to be like just so welcoming and awesome and forthcoming with their information, knowledge and experience, and developing these like super cutting edge genetic evaluation tools that I'm definitely benefiting from and utilizing. And so um thanks for for creating such a nice fostering such a great community of producers because I don't take that for granted. So
Awesome. Well, we will see you next month, hopefully in December. And um, yeah, thank you again, Alex. We'll get this up on the website and emailed out and go from there. Have
Roger
a good
that.
night.
Thanks for having me.